Welcome. Today we are looking at the judges of Israel, focusing on Deborah, Gideon, and Samson. This is a key topic in your CRS exams. Pay close attention. Let us begin. First, let me explain the period of the judges. After the Israelites entered the Promised Land under Joshua, they had no central leader. God raised up judges to deliver them from their enemies. The judges were military leaders, not kings. They led Israel in times of crisis. The book of Judges describes a cycle. The Israelites would sin and worship other gods. God would allow their enemies to oppress them. The Israelites would cry out to God. God would raise up a judge to deliver them. The judge would lead them to victory. There would be peace during the judge's lifetime. After the judge died, the cycle would begin again. This cycle repeated many times. The period of the judges lasted about 300 years. Now, let me explain the story of Deborah. Deborah was a prophetess and a judge. She was the only female judge. She held court under the palm of Deborah. At that time, the Israelites were being oppressed by Jabin, a king of Canaan. The commander of his army was Sisera. He had 900 iron chariots. He had oppressed the Israelites for 20 years. Deborah summoned a man named Barak. She said, "The Lord commands you to take 10,000 men and lead them to Mount Tabor. I will give Sisera into your hands." Barak said, "If you go with me, I will go. But if you do not go with me, I will not go." Deborah replied, "I will go with you, but the honor will not be yours. The Lord will deliver Sisera into the hands of a woman." So Deborah went with Barak. When Sisera was told that Barak had gone up to Mount Tabor, he gathered his 900 iron chariots. Deborah said to Barak, "Go, this is the day the Lord has given Sisera into your hands." Barak went down the mountain. The Lord routed Sisera and all his chariots. Sisera abandoned his chariot and fled on foot. He came to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite. Jael went out to meet him. She said, "Come in, my lord. Do not be afraid." So he entered her tent. She gave him milk to drink. He fell asleep. Then Jael took a tent peg and a hammer. She drove the peg through his temple into the ground. He died. When Barak came by, Jael showed him Sisera dead. That day God subdued Jabin before the Israelites. Deborah's story shows that God uses both men and women to accomplish his purposes. Now let me explain the story of Gideon. The Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord. For 7 years, God gave them into the hands of the Midianites. The Midianites destroyed their crops. The Israelites cried out to the Lord. The angel of the Lord came and sat down under an oak in Ophrah. Gideon was threshing wheat in a winepress to hide it from the Midianites. The angel appeared to him and said, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." Gideon said, "If the Lord is with us, why has all this happened to us?" The Lord said, "Go in the strength you have and save Israel. Am I not sending you?" Gideon said, "How can I save Israel? My clan is the weakest, and I am the least in my family." The Lord answered, "I will be with you." Gideon asked for a sign. He prepared a young goat and unleavened bread. He placed them on a rock. The angel touched the meat with his staff. Fire flared from the rock and consumed it. Gideon built an altar there. That night, the Lord told Gideon to tear down his father's altar to Baal and cut down the Asherah pole. Gideon did it at night because he was afraid. When the people found out, they wanted to kill him. But Gideon's father said, "If Baal is a god, he can defend himself." So Gideon was saved. The Spirit of the Lord came on Gideon. He summoned men from several tribes. 32,000 men came, but the Lord said, "You have too many men." Israel might boast that their own strength saved them. The Lord told Gideon to send home anyone who was afraid. 22,000 left. 10,000 remained. But the Lord said, "There are still too many." He told Gideon to bring them down to the water. The Lord said, "Separate those who lap the water with their tongues like a dog from those who kneel down to drink." 300 men lapped. The rest knelt. The Lord said, "With the 300 men, I will save you." That night, the Lord told Gideon to attack. He gave Gideon a sign. He told him to go down to the Midianite camp. There he heard a man telling a dream. The man said, "A round loaf of barley bread came tumbling into the camp. It struck a tent so that it collapsed." His friend said, "This is the sword of Gideon. God has given the Midianites into his hands." Gideon worshipped God. He divided the 300 men into 3 companies. He gave each man a trumpet and an empty jar with a torch inside. He told them, "When I blow my trumpet, you blow yours, and shout, 'For the Lord and for Gideon.'" They reached the edge of the camp. They blew their trumpets and broke the jars. They shouted, "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon." The Lord caused the Midianites to turn on each other with their swords. The army fled. Gideon pursued them and defeated them. Now let me explain the story of Samson. The Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord. The Lord gave them into the hands of the Philistines for 40 years. An angel appeared to the wife of Manoah. She was barren. The angel said, "You will have a son. No razor will be used on his head, because he is to be a Nazirite, set apart to God. He will begin the deliverance of Israel from the Philistines." The woman gave birth to a son. She named him Samson. He grew, and the Lord blessed him. The Spirit of the Lord began to stir him. Samson went down to Timnah. He saw a Philistine woman. He told his parents to get her for him. They did not know that this was from the Lord. On the way, Samson was attacked by a lion. The Spirit of the Lord came powerfully on him. He tore the lion apart with his bare hands. Later, he passed by and saw honey in the lion's carcass. He ate it. At the wedding feast, Samson told a riddle to the Philistine men. He said, "Out of the eater, something to eat. Out of the strong, something sweet." They could not solve it. They threatened his wife. She coaxed the answer from him. They answered the riddle. Samson was furious. He went to Ashkelon, killed 30 men, and gave their clothes to those who solved the riddle. His wife was given to his best man. Later, Samson went to visit his wife. Her father refused to let him see her. Samson caught 300 foxes. He tied them tail to tail in pairs. He fastened torches to them. He let them loose in the grain fields of the Philistines. He burned up their grain, vineyards, and olive groves. The Philistines burned Samson's wife and her father to death. Samson attacked them and slaughtered many. The Philistines went to Judah to capture him. 3,000 men of Judah went to Samson. They bound him with new ropes. When he came to the camp of the Philistines, the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully on him. The ropes fell off his arms. He found a fresh jawbone of a donkey. He killed 1,000 men with it. Then he was very thirsty. He cried out to the Lord. The Lord opened up a hollow place. Water came out. Samson drank. He led Israel for 20 years. Samson fell in love with a woman named Delilah. The rulers of the Philistines went to her. They said, "Lure him into showing you the secret of his great strength. We will each give you 1,100 shekels of silver." Delilah asked Samson 3 times. He lied each time. First, he said fresh bowstrings. She tied him, but he snapped them. Second, he said new ropes. He snapped them. Third, he said weave his hair into a loom. He tore loose. Finally, he told her the truth. He said, "No razor has ever been used on my head. If my head were shaved, my strength would leave me." Delilah lulled him to sleep. She called a man to shave off his hair. His strength left him. The Philistines seized him. They gouged out his eyes. They bound him with bronze shackles. He was forced to grind grain in prison. His hair began to grow again. The rulers of the Philistines gathered to offer a sacrifice to their god Dagon. They said, "Our God has delivered Samson into our hands." They called for Samson to entertain them. Samson said to the servant who held his hand, "Put me where I can feel the pillars that support the temple." The temple was crowded. Samson prayed to the Lord, "Sovereign Lord, remember me. Give me strength just once more." He pushed against the pillars. The temple collapsed. He killed many more Philistines in his death than he had in his life. A common exam question asks you to describe the role of Deborah as a judge. Here is a sample answer. Deborah was a prophetess and the only female judge of Israel. She held court under the palm of Deborah. She summoned Barak and told him to lead an army against Sisera. Barak refused to go without her. She went with him. The Lord routed Sisera's army. Sisera fled to the tent of Jael. Jael killed him with a tent peg. Deborah's story shows that God uses both men and women to accomplish his purposes. Another exam question asks you to discuss the test of Gideon's faith. Here is your answer. Gideon asked God for 2 signs with a fleece of wool. First, he asked that the fleece be wet while the ground was dry. God did it. Second, he asked that the fleece be dry while the ground was wet. God did it. Gideon also asked for a sign at the Midianite camp. He overheard a man's dream, which was interpreted as a prophecy of Gideon's victory. These tests showed that Gideon had weak faith, but God was patient with him. Let me give you a quick summary. The judges were leaders raised by God to deliver Israel from their enemies. Deborah was a prophetess and judge. She led Barak to victory over Sisera. Gideon was called by an angel. He asked for signs. He defeated the Midianites with 300 men. Samson was a Nazirite. He had supernatural strength. He fought the Philistines. He was betrayed by Delilah. He died, killing many Philistines. Keep reviewing. Keep practicing. See you in the next topic.